Hello people, my name is Biljana Poj and today I will explain linear regression model. In our example we have 20 municipalities, we have a number of employees and a GDP. But first of all we need to know what is linear regression. Linear regression attempts to model relationship between two variables by fitting a linear equation to observed data. In our example, we have a number of employees and the GDP, and that are our variables. Number of employees affects GDP, and that is why number of employees is independent variable and the GDP is dependent variable. That is why I marked this number of employees with the X and the GDP with the Y. Now we can go on our task. In our task we have to determine a linear regression equation that shows the dependence of gross domestic products on number of employees, then explain the meaning of linear regression parameters in this case, then explain the meaning of the coefficient of determination as a measure of the representatives of linear regression, and then based on the linear regression equation estimate the amount of GDP if the number of employees would be 50,000. And how we can do that? First of all, we have to go here and we have to mark these two columns here. Then go on the insert, charts, scatter, pull down the scatter, okay, click here and go on design. In design we should choose this option here, add chart element, and we have trend line. We can see our linear, but we need more trend line options. Why? Because here is our trend line option linear, and we need equitation, and we need R squared value. Okay, R squared value, if this value is bigger, then is the graph more representative, and we need this R squared value. So choose these two options here and pull this formula here, make it bigger, it's okay, and that's it. Now we can go on this part here, B. Explain the meaning of linear regression parameters in this case. First of all, now we have our linear regression equation, and you know in your books this is a linear regression equation, and if you put our value, we can see that we have parameter A and parameter B. And in the books you have an explanation. I copied and pasted here from my Word document, and explanation for A parameter is if X were 0, we can expect that Y would be how many number of units. Okay, first of all, our parameter A, where is it? Is it here? Okay, it is here. And we can type this value. Okay, what it means? First of all, we need to know what is X, what is Y. In our case, X is number of employees and the Y is GDP. If we put here instead X number of employees and this Y GDP, we have our explanation, and that means if the number of employees were 0, then GDP would be minus 2, 1344 million of euros. Okay, now we have explanation for parameter A. We can go now on parameter B. In your books you can see this is explanation of parameter B. If X increased by 1 unit, how much Y would increase or decrease. In our case, when we see our formula here, our equation, we can see that B is this number here. So we can type it. 0. Okay. And if we put instead x number of employees and instead epsilon GDP, we have our explanation here. If the number of employees increase by 1 unit, but what is 1 unit in our case? In our case, that is 1,000. That is not one worker, that is 1,000 of employees. Be careful here. So, if the number of employees increased by 1 unit, that means by 1,000, then the GDP would increase 7,0799 million of euros. Okay, and that is explanation of our parameters. We can go on this section here, C, explain the meaning of the coefficient of determination as a measure of representatives of linear regression. Here is our coefficient of determination, and here I already put this explanation. You can find this explanation in your books. And this coefficient shows percentage of relationship between x and epsilon explained by a model of linear regression. What it means in our case, first of all, we have to find this percentage amount of r squared. Okay, that is easy to do. Value of r squared is 0,8995. Multiply with 100, and this is percentage. That means 89,95% of relationship between x epsilon, between number of employees and the GDP, is explained by model of linear regression. And that's all. Now we can go on this section D, and here we can see that we have to calculate, based on the linear regression equation, estimate the amount of GDP if the number of employees would be 50,000. How we can do that? First of all, we have to estimate amount of GDP. What is GDP? GDP is epsilon. And the number of employees would be 50,000. The number of employees is already here given in thousands. That are units. That means that in our equation we have to put number 50, and this number 50 will represent 50,000. Okay, be careful here. So if we go on our equation here, we have to calculate epsilon. Okay, and we have our parameters b, a, and we have value for x. B is 0.799 multiply with 50, not 50,000, with 50, minus 2,1344, and this is our value. We can make it prettier here. Okay, what does this number mean? I already put the explanation here, and it says if the number of employees were 50,000, then GDP would be 351,68 million euros. And that's all. Thank you for your attention. If you like this video, please click like and subscribe. That's all.